Lacey is a first-time caller out of Florida. Lacey, thank you for calling. You're on the air. Thank you, Luke.
Hi, Jesse.
Hey, Lacey, how you?
I'm doing good.
Great.
I've been watching your show now probably for maybe a couple weeks, actually. And I seen this video on YouTube, and you were kind of saying some stuff about me and my husband were actually laughing. I'm white, and my husband's black.
Really? How did that happen?
Well, like you said, I seen it. You said that it only happens in a fallen state, and we actually didn't get saved until about 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. That explains it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that explains it. Yeah. And we were watching your YouTube videos, and we were laughing about it because it was funny what you were saying to people, and just basically very blunt to people, and kind of saying the same thing over to make them think about what they're saying and give them, you make people give them a yes or a no, a question. They have to say yes or no, or is or it isn't.
Right.
Because that's how it should be.
Yes.
And you do that to make them think okay, they can't talk their way out of it,
You notice in the Bible, speaking of the Bible, it says, let your answer be yay or nay.
Yes.
Yes or no. We've got so far away from that now because people want to lie and get away with it. They're trying to cover up.
Right. My husband is actually, he's a Republican now. I mean, he didn't grow up that way, but he is now. And his mother still thinks that he's a Democrat because he hasn't told her.
Why not?
So, I don't know. That's like you're saying, the fallen man and all those things, and they're kind of scared to tell their mother.
Beta!
Well, yeah, he just hasn't got there yet, and I don't necessarily think he's a beta, but,
No, if he is afraid of his mama, take it from me, beta.
Oh, man. But, anyway, I think he says he's not scared of her, but it just hasn't came out yet. He just became a Republican, so he hasn't got there yet.
Well,
so
let me know when you tell mama he's a Republican.
Okay. And you were talking to this guy earlier, and he was saying, it's the end of times and all that stuff, and you were asking why are we having these problems. The reason why we're having all these problems in America is because it all goes back to a sin problem. Everybody has a sin problem. And until they get over their sin problem and they come back to God, we're always going to have all these problems that we have.
And what's the sin problem?
The sin problem, everybody's sin, their hatred towards each other, their lack of knowledge of God, and all of that. That's what my pastor says. He says the reason why all this stuff is happening, racial wars and all that stuff, is because we have a sin problem.
But that is a problem, but that's not the number one problem. The reason, may I tell you what the real reason that we're having these problems in America today?
Yeah.
The men are weak. The men have been turned away from God, and there's no light. The light is going out. We're starting to brighten up again. Now, young men are starting to wake up around the country and around the world. But when the light of the man goes out, which is the light of God in the man, when that goes out, then the world go to hell in a handbasket because the light is not in the women, it's in the man. Right. It comes from the man. And so they have destroyed the men and turned them into women. And so there's no light. A little light left, but there's no light for the most part. And that's why you're seeing all this darkness.
Right.
That's the sin.
My husband, he just started reading the Bible with me every day, and we just started praying together. But before that, it was very difficult because I needed a leader, and I didn't ever have anybody to go to lead me.
Yes.
So until he started actually following God the way that he should have, that's now I'm noticing, because I was watching a show because my anger was really bad. I mean, I've been freed from all my sins. I don't have any sin in me, but occasionally anger would rise up in me, and I would, lash out or, just do something stupid because of the anger inside of me.
Yes.
And that was the only thing in me that God never freed me from. And I'm like, how did I get rid of this anger inside of me? And I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. And I don't know if I'm completely freed from it right now, but I've been a lot better since he's been leading me like he should be.
Yes. Well, the sin is not the things that you've done. The sin
Right.
is the anger that's inside of you. That's the nature of Satan. And the only
Right.
way that you're going to overcome that, you got to realize that you're wrong for having that anger, for being
Oh,
angry. And because
yeah.
anger is coming from judgment, from hatred. And the only way you're going to overcome that, Lacey, is that you got to forgive your mother. You got
Yeah.
and return to your father. And your
Right.
husband is not going to be a real man until he can read the Bible, until the cows come home.
Right.
But he's not going to be a real man until he forgive his mother, because he's
Right.
afraid of his mother, because he resents her, and likewise he's afraid of you and every woman. And so the
Right.
Bible is not going to change that. Only forgiveness of God will change that. And so
So,
he got to forgive his mother, and you need to forgive your mother and return to your father.
I mean, like you said, that forgive your mom and forgive your dad. Me and my mom have had conversations. My mom and my dad got divorced when I was like 11.
Yeah.
So my dad left the house. As soon as my dad left the house, my mom brought another man in, and
Wow.
it was, this is, he's better than your dad. Don't you want to call him dad? And all those things, and that really affected me negatively. And I
Yes.
told my mom all those things. I said I wish she would have never done that. She let me do things that as a child I shouldn't have done.
Amazing.
She let me, do smoke cigarettes and you know what I mean, just things that my mother shouldn't. She didn't. I felt like she was more concerned about other things than she wasn't worried about me. But we've had those conversations,
But you haven't
and I feel like
forgiven her, though. You didn't tell her how about you had this anger toward her. You realize now that she couldn't help it, and you're
right,
wrong for resenting her. She's wrong for what she did, but the thing
right,
that's hurting you is that you're wrong for resenting her, because God is not going to bring you back into the kingdom within until you
right,
forgive her. Anyone who has
right.
anger is a son or daughter of Satan.
Do you think it has anything to do with my dad, though? Do you think it has
Yeah,
any? I mean, it has
you
stuff to do with my dad too.
Yeah, you need to forgive him for not. He couldn't handle your mother, so he left you with her, and that's a weakness. Hold on a minute. Do not hang up. Let me take a quick break. Back in a moment. So, Lacey, we talked about what your mother did. She when your father left, she brought another man into the house right away, and she just let you have your way, and she tried to make you call this guy daddy and all that crap, right?
Yeah.
And you said you need to forgive your father. What do you resent your father for? What did he do to you?
He was an alcoholic, and
What did that have to do with you?
it didn't have anything to do with me. He didn't have anything to do with me
So why do
at
you
all.
resent him because he was an alcoholic? It had nothing to do with you.
Well, it didn't have. Well, I mean, I resented him for the fact that I feel like he never taught me anything. He never was interested in anything I was doing. He never played with me. He never did anything with me. Never took me to church. He never did anything.
Did you
Like,
ask
I can't
him?
remember anything that he ever did with me. He
Did
was
you?
just always, hanging out with his friends, or
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do. Did you see him while you were growing up?
Yeah, he lived with us, and until I was like 11, and then after they got divorced and he moved out, and he still lived in the same town, so I would visit him from time to time, but I didn't want to spend a lot of time with him because of his alcohol and drug addiction,
But, but what did that have to do with you, though? Did he want to be with you then?
Yeah, he liked hanging out with me, and and I would like seeing him sometimes, but I mean,
Why did you judge him?
As,
Why did you judge him because he was drinking and, as you said, doing drugs? If he wanted to hang out with you, all you needed was your father. Why did it matter to you if he was drinking or not?
because that was always the issue with my mom.
Thank you. That came from your mother. It wasn't your issue. She set you up.
She made it my issue.
Yes. It never was your own issue. Your issue was you loved being around your father, and your father loved being around you. But your mother is a very judgmental woman, and she hated your father, and she tried to turn you away from him.
She did, and they've been divorced for like 16 years, and she still talks about how bad he was and this and that. And I had to tell her to stop talking about him.
Right,
quit talking about him.
Because
it's over with. It's been over with. Just stop.
Because if she got involved with another man and then tried to make you call him father and then allow you to just do what you want, she is in no position to put down your father.
Right.
Uh,
Yes, and she's still not. So every time she talks about him now, I just say to stop. I don't even let her do it.
yes, good. Here's what I recommend. If you want to overcome that anger, which is
Yeah.
of your father, the devil, and have you noticed that you can read the Bible, you can go to church, you can quote scriptures, you can name and claim Jesus, but if you
Yeah.
have anger, you're still not happy, you have no peace?
Yeah, I know that. And I know that my anger is going to take me to hell. That's why I knew it was a problem. God freed me from everything. I don't curse. I got freed from every single sin that I used to do. I'm definitely born again. I got freed from everything.
Well,
The anger was still there.
no, but you didn't get rid of the real issue. It's the
Right.
sin, it's the anger. Because anyone who has anger, they are playing God. They're very judgmental. And no one will enter into the kingdom of heaven if you are angry because you think that you are God, even though Satan is your daddy.
Right.
So here's what I recommend. Do what you want, of course. I recommend you go and be honest with your mother. Tell her that she screwed up your life. She forced you to try to accept some other man as your father, and that she's an evil woman. And you realize now that she can't help herself, and you're sorry for hating her.
Yes.
And don't ask her to forgive you. You forgive her, and God will forgive you.
Okay.
And then go to your father and apologize to your father for judging him with your mother's hatred, and ask him why did you leave, and you'll get a better understanding about why he left her, because he wasn't trying to leave. Fathers don't leave children, they leave the mothers because they're married to their mothers and they can't handle them. But the mother's not going to tell you your father left because he couldn't handle me. She's going to give you the impression he didn't love you. He left because of you.
Right.
So go and have a good conversation with your father about that, and then forgive your father. Say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for resenting your dad. I realize now what happened. And that anger will be taken away from you by God.
Okay. I have one more thing that I need to tell you. You were saying that black people can't read.
Right.
My husband's 28 years old, and when we read together, I have to help him read. I homeschool my children, our children that we have. I homeschool them, and I have to help him read like with my children. and it's sad because I think he resents his mom for that, because he told my daughter, he said, I wish that my mom would have been half as good as your mom and would have sat there and just taught me how to read.
Yeah.
He owns his own business. And he's doing things with his life. I mean, you know what I mean? He's smart, but he has a problem because he feels like he can't do it because he can't read that well.
Are the children his children too?
Yes, we have 2 children. Yes.
Oh, okay. But he sounds like he's a decent man, but he got to go and forgive his mother. He got to deal with her, and then his whole world will change, because it's not going to change by you taking him to church. And by him learning the Bible, it's just going to be all phony, a pretense. But he won't be himself. And so if you want me to talk to him and he's willing to call the show, I'll be happy to talk to him. But recommend to him that he needs to go and be honest with his mother about what she did to him and forgive her, and then return to his father. He'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. And his dad's passed away now.
Oh, but he still needs to forgive him for not protecting him from his mother.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that because I thought that was funny. You said black people can't read, and I said, no, my husband can't read very well, so maybe he's true. Maybe he was stuff he's saying is true.
And he's 28 years old. He should know how to read.
Yes, and he graduated from high school, and he went to college. He went to college for like a year.
Affirmative action.
How did he make it?
Affirmative action. Black people don't have to know anything nowadays to go to college or go to high school or get a job or anything, because they get in there because of affirmative action. They don't have to know anything. It can be dumb as a doorknob, as most of them are, but the white people are going to let them in anyway because they'll cry racism.
Right.
Or they'll cry slavery. Slavery did this. They be lying. They be lying.
Yeah, and I want to tell you something else. We affiliate with a church in Southern, we live in, by Pensacola. So we affiliate with a church in Southern Alabama and a couple of other sister churches that we have. We get together once a month. And a couple of these churches are all black churches. And I go to a church that's mostly white people, but the other churches we go to, we have affiliated with, it's all black people. And when we get together and we worship together, you know, the preachers get up there and they say, you know, all this dividing in America, he said, that stuff's not real. What you see, that stuff's not real. He said, there's no racism. There's nothing like that. He said,
Yep.
this is what it was meant to be. We're all one, you know?
Yeah.
There's none of that. It's no, I'm black, you're white. We all can love God. It's all, there's no dividance between us.
Well, once you overcome that anger, you will see that. You will see that there are
Right.
children of Satan and there are children of God from every race.
Right.
It's either the God that you serve, that's who you belong to.
Right.
So, Lacey, will you go and do what I suggest and let me know how it goes?
Yes, I'll go and I'll do what you suggest, and I'll forgive my father for, not forgive my father, but apologize to him for judging him on my mother's hatred.
Yes.
Because I think that's what's bothering me the most, because she's always pressed that on me.
What an evil woman. A lot of mothers are doing that to their sons and daughters.
Right.
Their hatred of the man. Amazing call, Lacey. How old are you?
I am 28.
Well, even though you and your husband got married in that fallen state, if you overcome that anger, both of you still have a great marriage.
Yes, and I agree. That's exactly what we need to overcome is the anger. Because, you know, like you said, the betas, they get emotion. They get like they want to argue and stuff. It's funny because when I talk to him about stuff and I say something to him, he gets all argue. And I said, well, Jesse said that if you argue, you're a woman. So
That's right. Men don't argue with anger because it's not natural for men to have anger. So when he does it, tell him I said, beta.
Okay. And you know what's funny, too? We be driving down the road, and he'll say something, and I'll say, that's amazing, and he'll just laugh at me, you know? We just laugh together. We just love it.
That's nice. It was a joy to hear from you, and I really wish you and your family well. Let me hear from you again, all right?
Yes, sir. God bless you.
You too. Thank you. Amazing. Amazing. Nice lady.